So, I've been thinking a lot recently, and I wanted to reflect on whether or not these expensive webcams are really worth it. Well, my answer was yes, because I couldn't find any mirrorless or point and shoot cameras that could be used as webcams for around the same price, considering the current circumstances, of course. But I found something. I bought a GoPro Hero 3 Black, which only cost me about $35, and I actually paired it up with a micro HDMI cable and a $20 dongle, which is essentially just an HDMI to USB converter. So, is this setup worth it? And can it actually compete against the rest of the competition that I have here, like the higher end $200 webcams? I'm going to answer that question right now. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Razer Kiyo Pro. This is Razer's latest webcam, and it does run at 1080p 60 with a wide-angle lens. It is a pretty good webcam and has a plastic build to it. You do get quite a bit of customization and synapse with it, but it's not very intensive, as there is only so much that you can do on a webcam, period. Now, this webcam sells for $200. And now let's take a look at the Logitech StreamCam. This is one of the most popular webcams for streamers who stick to just a webcam and want to step up their image quality from, let's say, C920 or something like that. It's also a 1080p 60 webcam. The colors aren't too bad on this one, and it gives you shallow depth of field, which is actually pretty good. Now, this webcam retails for $200 as well. And then there is this GoPro Hero 3 Black. This is an action camera that's capable of recording at up to 1080p. This device is much smaller than the other webcams and unfortunately doesn't support webcam functionality over USB, unlike the Hero 4 and above, but it does support it over its HDMI port. And that's really the most important factor here. So in order for this to work as a webcam, we're going to need two things. I'm going to need an HDMI cable and a converter from HDMI to USB in order to really get this working. But if you do want to make that experience a bit less painless, then you could also get yourself a mini USB cable, so that way it'll just stay on the entire time instead of it turning off randomly. And you can also get yourself this smartphone clamp that does actually fit this particular GoPro quite well, in fact, and you could definitely use it to hook that up and put that like on top of your monitor or something like that. I would say that this entire package cost me about $80, but if you take something out like the clamping mount, then it'll end up costing you somewhere around 60 bucks instead. So having all of these side by side, I can easily see that the GoPro looks better than both Razer's and Logitech's offering. You get more natural colors, a much wider field of view, great focus, and all in an even smaller form factor for that matter. This GoPro, to me, does everything that these two do, but much better, and for a lot less. I've been meaning to do this test for quite a while, but I never really got around it up until now. However, this already tells me that they're just much more affordable and much more efficient methods of getting good quality for streaming or your Zoom calls or anything like that. And do not actually buy a $50 webcam, those really tend to suck. If the $200 ones are not that great, imagine how the $50 ones will perform. The only real issue with the setup is just that the GoPro Hero Black does not support a clean HDMI output through the HDMI port, and you definitely don't want to show this off on stream because it'll just look really unprofessional. But there is a simple workaround for it. So like if you're on OBS or Streamlabs OBS, all that you have to do is simply enlarge the image and just make sure how do you keep doing it until it cuts off the corners where the rest of the indicators are being shown. And then whenever you try and transition into any other scene, you're going to see that it did indeed retain that, and it's almost as if it always had a clean HDMI output to begin with, which is pretty cool. It's just a very simple solution, and you still get that very wide angle effect, even though you do have to crop in quite a bit at first. So, a simple workaround, a simple solution, but most importantly, a better looking and much more affordable webcam. If I had been sure about this sooner, then I would have recommended this a long time ago instead of going with those higher priced webcams, because this is just a much better value, and it doesn't take much technical know-how to be able to get this set up. It is incredibly simple, and it's almost plug and play. It's as plug and play as it can get for a janky setup like this. Don't be afraid of trying out other jankier solutions, because that solution really might just be the answer that you're looking for. So with that said, I'm going to be leaving links to everything here down in the description so that you can also ahead and give this a try in case of anything. And do make sure to follow us on the rest of the social media. And there's also the Tech Summit podcast, so do make sure to subscribe for that in case of anything. But this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy.